I just received a parcel that I ordered a few days ago, and I thought now would be the perfect time to do an unboxing video. It was a product that I saw and I thought that could be very useful when creating mosaics, especially for those people that do glass on glass. So anyway, let's get into the video and have a look.
Look at that.
Well, these are the frames that I bought. Now, these came from IKEA and they're called Loboda frames. Now, what I like about these, and I'll put these to a side, what I like about these is that they can freestand or they can hang. Now, they have acrylic inside them. I'm not really quite sure how good these are going to go to be used as a substrate, but I thought for glass on glass these would be excellent. Now you may even be able to use the acrylic, although what I was thinking of was actually taking out the acrylic and putting in 3mm clear glass. Now I bought 3 of them because they were not expensive. I think these worked out to be $8.50 each or something like that. So I thought I might as well buy another 2 to go with it because the packaging or the sending of it, the freight, is going to be the same amount of money. So I'll undo one and we'll see what they're like. And I'll just undo that very carefully because I don't want to scratch anything. But I'm hoping these will be suitable for glass on glass. Okay, so you've got your hanger, but you could remove that. That's got a lobster clip on it, so that can easily be removed. And you could put a better chain on it anyway if you wanted to. Just pop that back. And let me have a look at this. So this just freestands like that. So there you go, which I think would be quite good if you did a glass on glass and it's in a window on a bench. The only thing is you'd probably see the stand, but you could also remove that because that just unclips and you could lean that up against a window without the chain on, and I think that would look quite effective as well. So if we remove that, and that one comes out as well. So I've got a piece of 3mm glass here. I'm back. I thought I did have a piece of 3mm clear glass, but I didn't, so I had to buy some. And all I did was cut it to size, and that was very, very easy. I just put the Perspex insert that I got out the frame on top of the glass, get a fine texture colour go around it, and then all I did was then just got the glass scorer and scored along that texture line, and then just broke the glass or use your running pliers to break the glass, and that worked quite well. And then all I did was just got a piece of sandpaper and just went along the outside or the outside edges just to take off any sharp pieces. So that worked quite well, and then I just wiped it all down. Now I'm going to just show you that inside this frame, which I think is really a good idea, are these clips. And I don't know whether you can actually see that. But there's a clip in there on each side, and all they do is they actually keep the glass to the front of the frame so it doesn't have much flex in it. Well, in this particular case it was the Perspex, but remember we took the Perspex out. But that's what it was meant for, is to keep the Perspex close to the front. And all I did was I just pulled these out a little bit just to make sure that it was going to be a bit firmer on the front of the frame. So I will now take this hanger off because I think this will get in the way. And this one as well. Then I'll get the glass and I'll put it in there. There you go. And those little clips on the side actually do work quite well. They actually do keep the glass, even though it's not meant to have the glass in, it's actually meant to have the Perspex, but it actually does keep the glass to the front of the frame quite well. So I think this will work really good. Now the only thing I would do is, because the glass is a bit heavy and you're going to mosaic onto it, what I would be inclined to do, I've just got to take the glass out now. That's got it. What I would be inclined to do is put a bit of silicone, just a small bead around the front there. And the reason being is, although this is a join on the corners here that seems to be quite secure, again, if we're going to be putting glass in this frame and we're going to mosaic onto it, then what I would feel better is putting a bead of silicone around the front of it so as it adheres to the frame. Now, that is something you're going to have to look at as to whether this frame is going to be suitable for a glass on glass. Personally, I think it is, but of course, I haven't done any testing on this. This is just an idea that I came up with. So that would be a very wise thing if you did your own due diligence to make sure it's going to be suitable for your glass and glass, because it also depends, you know, the final weight of the piece. But I think adding the silicone to this will work quite well. So let's do that now. So I've got the silicone ready. All I'm going to do now is turn the frame over because we're wanting to actually silicone. So it's just a small bead on the front of the frame. Only a small bead because you don't want it to squish out everywhere. And if it does happen to, you might be able to just take that off, but we're only aiming for a very, very small amount. And you could probably tack it in certain areas. It probably doesn't even have to be. It probably doesn't even have to be in a strong, a total long bead right along anyway. And I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit as I go. And the same on this side. There you go, and then along the bottom edge as well. On the front again, not on the back, but on the front. So I might come around this way on this one. And I'm doing this so as the frame will adhere to the actual glass, because I want to take the pressure off just the bottom. I want to make sure that the glass is going to be equally held throughout the whole of the frame. And then all we're going to do, and if I happen to get some silicone onto the glass, I can take it off later. And all we're going to do now is slide this in. There you go. And just put a little bit of pressure on the front there. Just to push the silicone onto the glass. And we've got it on the bottom there. And as you can see, a bit squished out over there. I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to touch that now. I'm going to actually leave that and then I'll cut that off later. And that's about it. So we'll come back and see how that goes. I can actually, I suppose what I can do is actually scrape that off with a blade. And I can clean it, I suppose, rather than leave it. I can clean it. There you go. And I'll put that onto. So it might be a bit easier to actually take it off now rather than later. But I don't want to get any on the frame. So that's come off really quite well. And it would work better if I had a flat blade, but I actually don't have one with me right now unless I take this one out of the knife. There you go. I'll just push that in there again because I moved it. There you go, that's really good. All right, so what I'm going to do is just let that go for the time being. I'm going to actually put that on the edge there so as it doesn't get any silicone on my top on this bench. And we'll come back once it's cured and check it out and see how this works. Well, it's been a couple of days since I actually adhered the glass into the frame, and I think it's worked quite well. Now, because we pushed the glass to the front of the frame, so there wasn't going to be any gaps at the front, it does allow for more silicone to be put in at the back of the frame, because there's a reasonable size gap at the back of the frame, at the bottom and the sides. So if you wanted to make sure and you wanted to adhere it even better into the frame, you could certainly put a bead of silicone all the way around on the back of the frame here where the gaps are. Now, the silicone at the front that I accidentally put on has cleaned off quite well, so I'm very pleased about that. And of course, if you're wanting to use the standee, that just goes on quite easily. Just put it in there, and then that will stand up really well. And look, to be honest, I think that will work quite well in a window. The only thing you're likely to see is this bar here. If the sun is shining through the glass on glass, you might see that bar, you may not, but if you do, I don't consider that to be really a major problem. Now, if you're looking at hanging this frame, then my suggestion would be to get rid of the chain and the lobster clasp and put on new chain. A, the chain, I don't consider this to be long enough, and B, the lobster clasp I don't consider to be good enough to hang a glass on glass, because remember, and I need to stress this point, this frame is designed to hang a photo. Now, glass on glass is going to be heavier. You've already got a bit more weight in it with the 3mm glass, hence that's why I wanted to adhere the frame all the way around, so the weight is not just on the bottom here. And you need to do your own due diligence to make sure it's going to be suitable for your needs, and also if you're going to hang it or stand it upright, you need to make sure it's going to be safe. So I'm not suggesting that you use this glass on glass, this frame for a glass on glass. I'm just pointing it out that it's just an idea I came up with. But like I said, you need to make sure that you do your own due diligence to ensure that this frame, when you're using it, when you're finished, is going to hang or stand safely. But I think overall it's an interesting project, and it'll be interesting to see your thoughts on what you think if this frame is going to be good enough for it. You may have already used one of these frames for a glass on glass, but either way, let me know in the bottom of the comments section of the YouTube channel. Let me know what you think. I hope you've taken something away from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy.